Hello and welcome to those of you that have just been redirected. It's lovely to see you. Um, that's fine there. Um, as you can see, we've got this trial going. Let me get the trial up. This will take us over lunchtime now. Which is good. This is what we wanted. And then after this, we'll go straight back to the other one. So with that, Sarah P is in the house. Welcome, welcome. Please press that like button. Even if you're not staying, press it. Press our like button, please. Johnny Auto Corner, specialist Discord access and everything. Store or donate to help the channel. Medical marijuana seems to be bigger for people. Yes. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining. Sarah's again saying thanks for joining. Johnny Auto Corner community. Monica's here. Hey, Mon. And if you'd like to support the channel, please consider donation. Never required, but always appreciated. So, with that, let's get going, shall we? Because we haven't got much time. We've got an hour and a half. So we'll get going now. So this is a trial.
Now, you said that you were not.
I might have gone too far ahead on it.
We're back on the record. So, Mr. AC unit texted a couple of commissioners to try to see what we can do about getting an AC unit, just at least for this area of the courtroom. Mr. Sadler, did you turn that one on this morning? All right, that should help.
Welcome to all new members and Nunez in the house.
Government operation. All right. We're back on the record. Ms. Batson, you may proceed with cross-examination.
Okay, thank you, Owner. Dr. Crowder, I'm Dr. Basson. I'm just going to ask you a few questions. I'm not going to keep you up there very long. Just trying to get some clarification on some things. Now, you said that you were not the.
Nunez, you can't hear. Can't hear. Diagon Alley. What's Diagon Alley? Diagon Alley. Diagon Alley. I don't get it. Right, can you all hear?
The representative from the ME's office that actually.
Oh, sorry, Tony Pip.
This crime scene, is that correct?
On the initial discovery.
Yes. Okay. You didn't get out there until April 12th of 2021?
Correct.
Okay. Do you know who was the initial person or persons from the ME's office that got out there, I guess either on the 24th, 25th, or the 26th?
Diagon
I
Alley.
have their name in my notes. It would be in the investigator narrative.
Okay. And
Diagon Alley.
you couldn't determine how the decedent was killed, could you?
So I don't make those determinations. I make recommendations of any findings, but pathologists make those determinations. But I did not provide
I'm going to get coffee
any
back now.
findings of trauma from my exam.
So that's basically a no.
Correct.
Okay. And you said, and I'm going to try to say this word, taphonomic conditions.
Taphonomic conditions.
Those were present
Yes.
from the weather, because we had just had a really, really bad winter storm in February. Is that correct? Where like all of Texas was shut down.
I remember the storm.
Okay. And then you said you did see some evidence of like animal scavenging.
Correct.
And so it could be possible that where the remains were found, these pieces of remains were found, an animal could have drug it from across the field, from a wooded area, anything like that's possible, right?
There could definitely be some movement of remains.
And you said that there were some bones that were missing.
Correct.
Okay. But in your report, you had marked that anti-mortem, that they would have been present before she died. These bones.
Well, unless she has some sort of missing limbs in life.
Okay. That was it. Thank you, Dr. Crowder. No other questions at this point.
May this witness be final excuse?
No objection, sir.
All right, thank you, Dr. Crowder. You're free to leave and head back to Tarrant County.
Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, today we call Dr. Kathleen Casper.
Kathleen, who was sorry?
Casper?
Thank you. Ma'am, if you would please stop and raise your right hand.
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Kathleen Ann Casper,
How do you spell your last name?
Kasper.
And Dr. Casper, how are you currently employed?
I am self-employed. I'm a general dentist in Carrollton, Texas.
And so that's your primary
Yes,
job?
yes,
Okay. It's just it's a dentist office for the general public.
that's right.
And my understanding, you also do work for local medical examiner's offices. Is that
That's
right?
correct.
So you have kind of your full-time practice of the dental practice where you see patients, and on the side you have the work you do with medical examiners.
Yes, I'm a consultant for all the major medical examiners in this area.
Okay. And what is that consulting position that you have there?
I do forensic dental identifications. Predominantly, I can do dental age estimations as well.
And let's talk a little bit about your educational background.
Okay.
What is your educational background?
I got my undergraduate degree at the University of Iowa. It's a Bachelor of Science. I got my Doctor of Dental Surgery degree at the University of Iowa as well. I have further training in forensic dentistry, which I got in 2003, 2004 in San Antonio, Texas at the Center for Education and Research in Forensic Dentistry.
And so how long have you been a dentist?
I've been a dentist for 37 years.
And how long have you been doing forensics odontology?
I have been doing forensic odontology in an official capacity for 18 years.
So you say official capacity. Was there a period of time there where you were kind of getting into that field?
Yes,
What got you into
and
that field?
I'm sorry, say that again.
What got you into that field?
A elective course in dentistry in my training was forensic dentistry. It was only a semester long. And I felt after taking that course that I wanted to do something with that in my life. And eventually one door opened after another, and I was able to do it in an official capacity.
And what does it take to kind of get into that field of forensics?
Well, any dentist can get into forensic dentistry. Being board certified is another animal. It takes a lot of training, education, and skill in order.
Welcome, Sky High. Welcome. Becky was the first one. There we are. You can't hear it. Hang on, let me refresh the page there. What's going on? Because I can hear it perfectly.
And what does it take to kind of get into that field of forensics?
Well, any dentist can get into forensic dentistry. Being board certified is another animal. It takes a lot of training, education, and skill in order to even take an examination with the American Board of Forensic Odontology. There's not many of us that are board certified in the country. At this time, there's only 76. For the longest time, there was 90. But due to attrition, death, and retirement, there's only a few that are throughout the country. It's a rigorous examination process. I always thought the Texas Dental Board was the hardest board I'd ever taken until this forensic dental board examination. It takes many of us 5 to 10 years to just get the prerequisites to even.
Hang on, yeah.
So
Can you hear me
it's not
now?
an easy exam to pass.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
And that's perhaps the reason why there's so few of us.
It also sounds like it's not something that's a full-time gig, even once you get that.
There are very few full-time positions for forensic dentistry in the country. There's only 1 or 2 that I'm aware of. So all of us do this on a consulting basis. We, for the most part, have our own dental practices, and that could be specialists as well. I'm a general dentist. So the work that we do is done after hours or on the weekend.
Or like today when you're testifying, you had to reschedule patients and
Absolutely.
shut down the calendar.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned there's about 77 in the United States. Now, how many there are here in Texas?
Let's see. Those numbers are dwindling with the recent death of one of my friends who boarded with me. So I believe there are about 5.
And you've testified in this field before?
Yes.
How many times have you testified in the field of forensics on pump?
This will be my 5th time.
And what all counties have you testified?
Denton County and Tarrant County.
And when you're asked to consult on a case and identify some of the remains, what are you looking for?
Well, there's several things that we look for. Of course, we're looking for consistent features. So that means dental work or fillings or even the shape of a root or the top part of the tooth called the anatomical crown. We're looking for things in the antemortem or before death records that look the same in the postmortem or after death records. So there's consistent features. So they're the same in the antemortem and the postmortem record. There's explainable inconsistencies, and those are features that don't look the same in antemortem and postmortem records, but can be explained a lot of times by the progression of dental disease and dental treatment. So for example, dental disease only gets bigger. The longer you have your teeth in your mouth, you may start out with a small cavity, which turns into a crown, which turns into a root canal, which turns into an extraction, which turns into a bridge or an implant. So dentistry is unilateral in its direction. Things only get larger, they don't get smaller. Then there are unexplainable inconsistencies, things that are impossible to have happen. So for example, if you have your upper right front tooth is present before death or missing before death, and then it's present after death, it can't be the same person because at this point in time, we can't grow teeth back.
And would you say teeth are resilient?
Oh, teeth are very resilient. Yes, they last for millions of years.
Okay. And why is that important when you're talking about identifying human remains using teeth?
Because teeth are, they're not only the teeth are resilient and resistant to fire, to water, to decomposition. But fillings and restorations that we place are also the same way. So it takes a lot.
What about me? Can you hear me now? Am I okay? I've just adjusted her volume. What about mine? Am I okay now? Mexi, Twiddly Pip, 1 2 3 1 2 3. Where are we, people? And by the way, Sky High Media, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to you. Damn, where's it gone? I need to open this. I can't do myself. I'll just shut up. I will shut up.
For a filling to disintegrate, and the same for teeth. Even in high burn cases, you can still find dental evidence that you can make a comparison and make a dental identification. And for some individuals, that can be one feature that's the same in before death and after death. If it's unique, I used to say unique enough, but unique is unique regardless. So if the feature is unique in the before death and the after death, you can make a positive identification by teeth if it's just one tooth or one filling.
And but you were talking earlier about the unexplainable inconsistencies.
Mm-hmm.
You have one of those, that then becomes an exclusion to the identification.
That is correct.
Then moving on to this case here that you're here to testify about, how did this case come to your attention?
Medical examiners contact me. They usually have a point of contact. Dallas County is the medical legal death investigator. So they'll either text me or they'll email me or they'll do both. And in this case, it was an email that said that they had a case, and they almost always have a presumptive identification. So they have the antemortem dental records ahead of time. And that was the case in this case. I had the availability and I had the personnel to help me for the day that I was contacted. And so we actually did the case that same day. So I create a antemortem profile, which means I look at the teeth and the dental records. X-rays are the ideal if you can get those, but in this case, I got X-rays and written dental records. So I could build a profile or a chart of how the teeth looked before death. And then when I go into the morgue, then I actually take the X-rays and I chart the dental conditions and then make the comparison right there. And for the most part, if there are enough dental features present, you can make that identification within seconds.
And we've heard a little bit about antemortem, previous testimony with yours. That simply means before death. So think while you're alive, antemortem.
Correct.
And so in this case, they said you had dental records from someone that they thought this could be from while they were alive.
Correct.
Okay. Do you remember who that person was?
Marisela Botello.
And so you're able to take a look at her medical records, you create a profile first, and then that's when you start looking at the actual remains that you have.
That's the way I prefer to do it. You don't always get the antemortem records right away. In this case, we did.
And Commissioner Pritchard?
You may.
And then there's also photographs that are taken of the remains of the teeth, and then, like you said, usually even x-rays as well. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I'm going to show you, here states 70, 71, 72, 73, and 74. Are those a fair and accurate depiction of the dental or the teeth that you would have been looking at?
Yes.
And then state 75, is this a copy of your report?
Yes, it is.
And state 76, what are we looking at there?
This is x-rays that I took directly out of the report and then just put shapes in order to show the jury what is same in antemortem and postmortem radiographs that I reviewed.
So 76 comes from your report and all the
Yes.
evidence you collect in making your identification,
Yes.
and is useful to understand the report and what we're looking at.
Yes.
This time I'll offer state 70 through 76.
No objection, Joseph, we produce extended.
All right, so exhibit 70. Oh, was there anything else?
No, ma'am.
So exhibit 70 through 76 are admitted for all purposes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Commissioner Butler.
You may.
So we start here with state 70. We begin with some photos that take around the jaw and the teeth that we're looking at. Is that correct?
That's correct. I always start my process with taking photos of the decedent. And the majority of the time, it's just the head teeth area.
State 71, we see the side profile, look at the teeth. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And 72, the other side.
Which is the left side.
So the left side, we can see, here, for example, a missing tooth.
Mhm.
And state 73, we can see kind of it's undershot almost, but it's overshot here at the top teeth. Is that correct?
Yeah. It's a top view of the upper teeth.
And a few teeth are missing.
Yes. Mhm.
You document that as you're kind of going through your report as well. And in state 74, we look like we have all the bottom teeth present.
Well, not the wisdom teeth, but yes.
So then, in this case, you then begin to prepare a report. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Let's walk through that report. What all is it that you're, so here we're talking about those antemortem, so while she's alive, examinations. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And so we see here you list out the various times that Ms. Botello would have been visiting a dentist and having either the radiographs or those handwritten charts. Is that correct?
Well, it's a combination of both. So the x-rays are displayed and written out from the most current and then the older. Of course, the more current x-rays are, the better the chance that you can make an ID because there's going to be more features that are consistent and match. And the last document is the written records. Don't always get written records. Radiographs are the main way to make a dental identification. So in this case, there are radiographs from November 15th, 2019 and March 28th, 2018.
So records from two previous dental evaluations from March 19, November 2019. And then we get into the next section of your report. And this is where you talk about your postmortem examination.
Right.
Okay, so what are we looking at?
Right now, I looked at a human maxilla and mandal. Obviously, you saw that just a little while ago. I always get the investigation narrative because I like to know where they recovered the body and a little bit of the story behind the individual. I took 29 individual x-rays that would show the top and the bottom part of the tooth, which is the whole tooth, okay, the crown and the root. And then I took bite wing x-rays because most everyone who's gone to a dentist bites on those little cards, or with digital, it's a whole setup that you bite into. But I like to get bite wings because that's the most common animal X-ray there is. And sometimes it's not always easy to take those on the remains that were given, but I like to get those because they're very common. And in this case, there were bite wings taken on in 2018 and 2019, and also a panoramic X-ray, which every medical examiner that I work with do not have that. So it goes all the way around the individual's head, so it shows all of the teeth and the jaws. So I had one of those, and that was from 2018. So that was helpful to tell me if wisdom teeth were there, or any other special feature, a growth or a cyst or something like that, that would have been in the jaw. So this is all of my, and of course, the photos that I take.
The next page, page 2 of the report, this is where we just see, where you start to chart the comparison between antemortem, alive, and postmortem remains. Each tooth, is that correct?
Each tooth has to be accounted for. And so that's 32 teeth in most adults. Whether they're there or not, they have to be accounted for.
And we can see over here on the side, the correlation. We see several that say consistent, but we do see a couple that say inconsistent.
Explainable inconsistency.
This is
Mhm.
explainable inconsistency. So why is it that those become explainable inconsistencies?
So just because something isn't there antemortem doesn't mean it can't happen postmortem. And so I can explain exactly why these 4 teeth are explainable. This individual was referred to an oral surgeon to have their wisdom teeth taken out. And I could confirm on the antemortem x-rays I received that the only 2 that I confirmed were taken out were the lower 2. On the upper 2, I could not see in the antemortem radiographs that were given, that were the more current ones. I can assume that all 4 were taken out, but I can't prove it with the records I was given. So that explains the tooth number 1, which is the upper right wisdom tooth, and tooth number 16, which is the upper left wisdom tooth. It's an explainable inconsistency. They were likely taken out, but I can't prove that because I don't have I don't have enough information. If I pressed it far enough, I probably could have gotten the oral surgeon who took them out to get us the records that we needed to prove that. But in this case, I don't need it because there are so many other features that were obvious that this was a positive identification. And tooth number 11, which is the upper left canine or eye tooth, it's hard to see some tooth colored fillings on x-rays depending on their location. And although we had some good x-rays antemortem of tooth number 11, the upper left canine, I could not see any filling in it. So again, dentistry is unilateral in its direction. Things get larger. So if the tooth didn't have a filling in it at the time the x-rays were taken, this individual might have gotten a filling done, and likely did, obviously did, somewhere down the road, and there was no documentation of it, or no x-ray to show me that, or it could have been on the x-ray all along. It's just not visible.
The inverse side, it would become unexplainable if, say, you had the filling and all of a sudden that's no longer there and there's no evidence that there's ever.
That there ever was a filling. That's absolutely correct.
That can't happen.
That cannot happen.
And so we keep moving. I'll kind of, we have the radiographs here, but we're going to discuss those in state 76 in just a minute. So I'll kind of, but those are in your report as well, is that correct?
Yes.
And then you just have here down the discussion, your reports, and then you have the ultimate conclusion. You were able to make a conclusion in this case?
The conclusion is that the antemortem and postmortem evidence matched in sufficient detail to say that it's from the same individual.
So you're able to say the records you received from Marisela Botello about that match what was recovered by the MD's office.
That's correct.
State 76. Looking here, kind of your chart to kind of help us understand what it is you're looking at and how you're making these identifications. So on the left, we have those radiographs from when she's alive, Marisela Botello about this, and then on the right, we have those radiographs that you took post-mortem.
That's correct.
Okay, so walk us through what we're looking at here.
Okay. So the very top, do I have a cleaner or anything up here that I can?
Maybe work for you. Allow it to work. But I don't think you were in here earlier to hear that our air conditioning's not working, so we'll see if this works. Don't think it's gonna work. So
Okay.
if you're able, you can
I can describe the shapes and the
Describe-
colors.
kind of
Yeah.
point along on that screen if you want.
Can everybody see this pretty well? Okay, so where you see the shapes and the same color of the shape on antemortem and postmortem records, it's a filling in this first instance where the arrow is pointing to that filling. That filling is on actually the cheek side of this tooth, and the filling looks the same in the postmortem. Okay, probably even more obvious is the silver filling. So,
Hi Digger, hi everyone. Oh my God, Mike Demi, thank you, Mike Demi, thank you for becoming a member. Digger's here. Shenny Graham, thank you for being here, everybody. I love this. Coma, thank you, sir. Jesus, I was in a different world. I was looking up my stuff. But yeah, thank you guys. Bad Dazzler, welcome, sir. Thank you for that. Bad Dazzler, not Dazzler, sorry. You won. Happy days. Alexander, how you doing? You alright? Yeah, sorry, guy. I'm with my own. I'm trying to sort stuff out. Miami, you'll never believe it. I had a complaint made against me, so I've got to be careful now with what I do. Um, so, yeah, long story short, but I've got to be careful what I record for my other trial. You know, the trial that you were watching with me. Bloody buggers complained about me, so I could not allowed to record it. But I am, but then I've got to put it straight into private. So sorting that crap out at the minute. There we are. Look at that. Don't be a digger like me. Switch the top from top chat to love chat. Happy days. Look at that. Sherry, brilliant. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for sending them over.
silver fillings.
Jesus. Thank you, Mike Demi, for sending them over. I saw your video. I can't wait to watch the playoff video. I can't watch it, obviously, because of this, but I will be on replay crew for that one. Mighty.
The x-rays don't penetrate them, so they look very white on an x-ray. And she only had one silver filling, and that is circled in green, the green. And then there's also a tooth colored filling, which is on the biting surface of the particular tooth. And I don't have this like catty corner, but this is the same tooth down here, which it was just a better representation. They look the same, with the silver filling towards the back part of the tooth, and then the tooth colored filling that's in front of it, or on the biting surface of the tooth. These are very, very obvious tooth colored fillings where you see the orange arrows pointing to the filling there, and then the blue arrows where the fillings are actually separate from one another. So there. There was also multiple teeth that were rotated. This one on the lower left, which is tooth number 20, is extremely rotated. And that was obvious in the antemortem and postmortem evidence. And then the blue circle shows another filling on the biting surface of the tooth. This one also has one on the cheek side surface, but sometimes they get superimposed. They are the same. This is the best antemortem record that radiograph that I could get to show that filling. And then the basic shape of tooth number 22, where you see that little whoop-de-whoop right there in the enamel. It's the same where the star is pointing there and there. And there's a lot of other features. These are just what I felt would be easy for you as non-dental people to see and understand.
That's what it's.
Crossing down.
Hold on, Joe.
You may.
I'm still showing it, Mighty. So after this, I'll go straight over to the afternoon session. But yeah, someone complained to the court
Trying to make sure.
about it. I was like,
This is the
fuck
bottom,
off.
right?
Yes,
The bottom teeth?
yes,
This is the top?
yes.
Okay, and you have, these are missing teeth?
Those are missing postmortem, which means they weren't recovered from the scene. And there's 5 altogether.
Who said they were at the scene?
This is, these are,
Just one, let me rephrase.
Okay.
Do you have any evidence of whether these two could have been knocked out?
no, I can't tell you they've been knocked out, just that they're missing and that they're a non-healed socket, which means they weren't extracted.
So you, meaning they weren't extracted at the dentist, correct?
Correct.
So you can't tell me they weren't knocked out, correct?
Correct.
When I say knocked out, I mean like somebody punched you and knocked those teeth out.
No, I can't say that.
And if you get punched and get your teeth knocked out, does that create an extreme amount of blood? In your opinion,
It just depends on the case.
it could.
It could.
Somebody punches you in your mouth, knocks your teeth out. Could that potentially create an extreme amount of blood?
Yes.
But again, you know that these weren't professionally extracted, correct?
All I can say is they were missing post-mortem. That's all I can say. They were not recovered. That's all I can say. And they're a non-healed socket, so it means that they hadn't, they weren't extracted at least, a long time ago.
Pulling teeth, or knocking teeth out will create blood, does it not?
For the most part, yes.
That's all I have. Thank you, Doctor.
Any redirect?
No,
I'm sorry?
no, Your Honor.
May this witness be present to speak?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Dr. Casper, for being here
Okay,
today.
all right, thank you.
Go back to business.
Thank you.
Please watch your step.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, call your next witness.
The state calls Rosemary Martinez.
So yeah, Nunia's right. We do 4 streams a day at the minute. This is just a filler. We will finish this by the time the main event. The 4 streams. We appreciate company.
Affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you. You may be seated in the witness box.
And Mighty, actually, the witness we have
You may-
on before lunch, amazing witness. You love him. Amazing. He's still on after lunch. Amazing.
Good afternoon, Ms. Martinez. Can you state your name and spell your full name for the court recorder, please?
Rosa Maria Martinez. Rosa Maria is Rosa-Maria. Martinez, Martinez.
And you go by Olivia, is that correct?
I do. I apologize. Olivia's my middle name.
Oh, no, that's okay. I just wanted to verify that. Ms. Martinez, you and I have spoken on the phone a couple of times. Can you tell the jury how it is that you know Miss Lisa Dykes?
Lisa and I were coworkers at a law firm.
And can you tell the jury kind of when that was, timeline-wise?
That was, I believe, in 2020.
The year 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and so what law firm did you all work for?
Montgomery Law Firm.
What did you all do for Montgomery Law Firm?
I started out as a case manager, but then got promoted into negotiations. Lisa and I both did negotiations for the firm.
Okay. And as a negotiator, what are your duties? What do you do?
We are in charge of calling the adjusters, insurance companies, working out settlements for our clients. It's a personal injury firm, car accident, stuff like that.
Do you hold a paralegal certificate?
No, I do not.
Okay. Do you know if Ms. Dykes did?
I don't believe so, in all honesty, but from my understanding, she did, but I don't know.
Okay. However, this is a job that is in the legal field, and you have some, kind of legal knowledge about certain aspects of the law.
Correct.
What things, what skills do you have to be a negotiator?
You've got to be really convincing. You have to be able to stand firm and just pretty much you have to be knowledgeable, very detailed when it comes to certain cases.
Okay. Knowledgeable, well-spoken?
Absolutely.
Okay. You have to be fairly savvy.
Absolutely.
You said you have to be convincing.
Yes.
Now, you and Ms. Dykes, Lisa, you all shared an office, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And can you recall the last time that you actually saw Lisa Dykes?
It was a Friday. We said our goodbyes at work, and then that following Monday is the day she tendered her resignation. So it was that Friday, the last time I saw her.
Okay, so Friday in October 2020?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And throughout the time that you knew Lisa, how would you describe her?
She commanded. Her presence was very commanding. She was definitely very convincing. She can persuade anyone to do anything, to be honest. She had very good verbal skills.
Did she seem to have a pretty good legal knowledge?
Oh, yes, absolutely. She was the one that a lot of us in the office came to for legal advice.
Now, it's been a while since you've seen Ms. Dykes. Do you see her here in the courtroom today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you just identify her by an article of clothing that she has on?
She's wearing a pink shirt.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness identified the defendant number 4.
Record will show.
Now, is that the same appearance that you knew Lisa to have during your time knowing her?
No,
Tell me how Lisa dressed on a day-to-day basis.
she was very well dressed. Always had her heels on. Even if it was with some jeans, she would have her heels on, makeup on, red lipstick. Hair was always done. She was presented herself very well.
Did you ever know her? Did you always know her to have the short hair?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you never knew her when she had longer hair.
No.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
You may.
Ms. Martinez, I'm handing you what's been marked State's Exhibit 77. Do you recognize that picture?
I do.
Okay, and is that a fair and accurate representation of Lisa Dykes when you knew her?
Yes.
Now, permission to publish, Your Honor.
Well, it hasn't been.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I skipped a step. Your Honor, State offers State 77 for all purposes.
Any objection?
Choosing attorney.
State's Exhibit 77 is admitted for all purposes.
Now may I publish, Your Honor? Thank you, Judge. Just so the jury can kind of see, this is kind of how you knew her. Was this a more subdued look that you would normally have?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, describe, compared to this photograph, what you would expect to see her like on a day-to-day basis.
She would, like previously stated, she would have red lipstick on, earrings. That dress or her blouse that she's wearing in the picture may be a little conservative than what she would, from what I knew her.
Okay, and conservative how?
It's not hip, if you will. I don't know. I don't know the word to use. I apologize.
So would you describe her as somebody that dressed as hip?
Yeah.
And did she always dress that way when you knew her?
Yes.
Now let's talk about, you guys shared an office, and as people that share offices know, did you all get into some personal conversations?
We did.
Did you all share kind of some details about your personal lives?
We did.
And did Lisa ever talk about a man by the name of Charles Beltran?
She did.
And what did you I guess, understand that their relationship initially to be?
They were a couple, from what I understood.
From what you understood? And describe to us, what kind of couple?
It was more of an open relationship type of couple. She was the financial giver, if you will.
Did she tell you some of the things she bought for him?
Yes.
What kinds of things did she buy for him?
She would, I know that she got him a car. She did get him a bunch of retro type of tennis shoes that costed a lot of money, clothes, stuff like that.
So like sneakerhead type of things, that,
Correct.
Jordans and things of that nature that cost several $100s.
Correct.
What about studio equipment?
I'm not too sure if she purchased that.
Okay. Were you aware that Chuck was much younger than her?
Yes.
And when she described Chuck, did it appear that she just really was attached to him?
Absolutely.
And what made you think that?
I'm not too sure. It was more of the way she would talk about him, the relationship that they had, the how happy it would make her to purchase things for him, type of thing.
And did she talk about him all the time?
She did when we weren't busy at work, but yes.
And during that downtime, she was talking about her personal life. Was it kind of all about Chuck for a while?
Yes.
At some point, did you find out that she had a friend named Nina Morano?
Yes.
And do you recall about when she started talking about her friend Nina Morano?
I don't recall around what time frame that was, but I know I've heard of her.
Okay. You said that you knew her in 2020, is that right?
Correct.
And how did she talk about Nina?
She would talk fairly well about Nina. She was a really good friend. They were best friends. She talked about how financially stable Nina was, stuff like that.
Did you learn that Nina's husband had recently passed away?
Yes.
And were you aware that Nina was an attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever learn, or at what point did she make you aware that she and Nina got married?
Yes. We even had a little celebration for them at the firm.
Okay. And knowing Lisa over the course of 2020, did it surprise you any that she married Nina, or what were your thoughts about that?
No, she had talked about it for a little while, so I knew that it was in the works.
Did she ever describe, I guess, the nature of their relationship? and what it was based on.
Just that they were best friends, and she did speak a lot about the finances when it came to Nina.
Did she ever express to you that this marriage was an arrangement where she was madly in love with her?
No, it never did. It never did, or she never did express that it was about them being in love. It was more of an opportunity
And what do you mean by an opportunity?
because of finances.
Okay. Nina was well off.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, again, being in that environment in the same office, you talked about some personal things. Did you ever talk about the sexual relationship that she either had between she and Chuck, she and Nina, or the both?
Yes,
Okay. And did she describe, I guess, a sexual relationship with Chuck?
she did.
And did she tell you details about it, or how did she describe that?
Not extreme details, just that they had an open relationship, and she knew about other females that he would bring home.
So she didn't talk to you about the down and dirty details of what her and Chuck did.
No,
Did she talk about her sexual relationship with Nina?
she did.
And how did she describe that?
It was more of she wasn't really sexually interested in Nina. It was more of Nina being sexually interested in her and wanting to have, if you will, threesomes with her, and not really Lisa wanting to do so.
Okay. So you talked about before that the relationship seemed to be described as an opportunity, a financial opportunity, if you will. Is that fair assessment?
Yes, ma'am.
And she, I guess, described this as Nina wanting to be intimate with her, but she didn't really have that same desire.
Correct.
You talked about how she knew that Chuck had other women. Did it ever seem to be an issue with her that he had these other women?
Not that she expressed to me.
Okay. Was it more about just making sure that he was going to stay with her?
Correct.
Was there ever a time or a woman that he slept with where she didn't express a problem?
The one person that he could not sleep with was Nina.
Okay, when we say sleep with, did that mean sleep with two of them together where it was a threesome? Or was it just if Nina and Chuck slept together alone?
If Nina and Chuck were alone.
Okay, did she ever express to you that she found out that they had slept together alone?
She did.
And what was her reaction to that?
She was livid.
What do you mean by livid?
She was extremely upset, very, very angry.
Did she express who she was upset with?
She was upset with Nina.
Okay, and was it a matter of the fact that Nina had, I guess, cheated on her, or was it the fact that Nina had slept with Chuck?
It was more of the fact that Nina slept with Chuck and Nina knew that she wasn't supposed to.
Was it an issue that Nina just wasn't supposed to without her involved?
I don't think so.
Now, when you said she was livid, what things did she say about it?
Oh gosh. She was going to make Nina her bitch. Excuse my language.
That's okay. So that's a direct quote from Miss Dykes. When she found out about this, she said she was going to make Nina her bitch.
Yes.
What else did she say?
She was going to make sure that Nina did whatever she wanted her to do.
Do you remember in terms of how long before Lisa resigned did this occurrence happen, if you recall?
I don't recall. I apologize.
That's okay. Did you ever meet Charles Beltran?
I met him once.
And where was that?
With Lisa, we were at the on-premise bar.
On premise. And what do you know about the on premise bar?
I just know that Lisa's son worked there or managed the bar, and from my understanding, Charles was a security guard or door guy.
Okay. And what was your impression of Chuck?
It wasn't too bad. My first impression was that he was a little bit of a flirtatious,
Okay.
and it just seemed like it came naturally to him to be flirtatious.
Did you all have a lot of conversation, or was it just a little bit?
Yeah, not at all. Not at all.
Is he a handsome man?
Yeah.
Okay. Young?
Yes, young. You can tell he was young.
And we kind of talked about the fact that for Lisa, what did that make her feel like to have this young, handsome, flirtatious man pay attention to her?
I think he kept her young.
Okay, Your Honor, I'm gonna object. This calls for speculation.
This is into the form of the question. Do you know how that made Lisa feel being with this young, attractive man?
From what I was used to, how she would react to him, he would make her happy. She was always really joyful to be around him. He made her feel young.
And is that the same way she dressed?
Absolutely.
Now, Lisa had some plastic surgery maybe about a month before she resigned. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you actually referred her to the surgeon. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I believe, do you recall when she had that surgery?
I don't recall exact dates. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Do you recall that she was working in the office at the end of September of 2020?
Yes.
And was she complaining, I guess, about some of the after effects of the surgery? She had a thigh surgery.
Correct. She had a thigh lift and a facelift. The thigh lift was giving her issues. The swelling.
I'm sorry,
The swelling was giving her issues.
the swelling. In September, did she come back almost immediately from that surgery?
She did. Yes.
And over the course of the time that she was there, did she get better?
Her face got better, but her thighs just were giving her a really, really big issue. They weren't healing well.
Okay. Was she still walking around,
She was walking just very slowly.
walking slowly?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, do you recall a time at the 1st of October that she talked about going to Camden, Arkansas?
Yes.
And what was that for?
A rap concert that Charles was a part of.
And do you have any idea who all went?
I knew it was her. I know Charles went because he was involved, but I don't know anyone else.
Okay. And did she take off that Friday, October 2nd to go to that?
She did.
And was she scheduled to come back to work on October 5th?
She was.
Did you talk to her at all that weekend?
No.
Okay, and that's not abnormal. You would talk to her over weekends.
Yeah. It wasn't an every weekend thing.
Prior to October 2nd, do you recall if she had traveled anywhere via airplane or anything else like that on a trip?
Not that I'm aware of.
Now, do you know how they got to Arkansas?
I believe they drove.
And do you have any idea where Camden is?
I
About how
don't.
far away it is?
No, ma'am.
The show was that weekend, and you said that she was scheduled to come back to work on October 5th. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did she return to work that day?
That Monday she called in.
She called in. Did she give any indication why she was missing work?
No.
Ms. Martinez, I'm putting up here, it's been marked States Exhibit 5 for demonstrative purposes. And you had mentioned that Lisa took off work to go to Arkansas on October 2nd, correct?
Correct.
And then October 5th, she was supposed to come to work and she called in for an unknown reason.
Correct.
Do you recall she returned back to work on the 6th?
She did.
Okay. And we'll just go ahead and put that on there. When she returned back to work, was her demeanor any different?
No.
Okay. Throughout that week, was her demeanor any different?
No.
At what point, you had talked about before, did you know that she had bought Chuck a black Audi car?
Yes.
Did she ever ask you about hiding that car?
She asked if she could leave the car at my house.
Okay. And when did she ask you about that?
I would say that week.
Okay. What explanation did she give?
She had previously expressed to me that she had been trying to take the car away from from Charles.
Yes.
And so that's the impression I got as to why she wanted me to keep the car. But other than that, I don't know why.
And did she mention anything about having to clean it?
She did. She mentioned she had had the car detailed twice.
And it was that week that she mentioned that.
Yes, ma'am.
Did she talk about possibly leaving it at an airport?
Yes.
You mentioned that she had said that, or asked her if you could leave it at her house. And, you know, kind of what thoughts did you have about that?
About her leaving the vehicle at my home?
Yes.
I didn't ask specific questions to her about it, but I just knew that it only could bring problems, and there was just no way I was going to have a car that she was trying to hide at my house.
Do you recall on October 15th, this would be this Thursday after this week right here, if she got a phone call that caused her to become, I guess, upset or concerned?
Yes.
And were you in the same room with her when she received that phone call?
Yes.
Who purportedly was on that call?
She stated it was an FBI agent.
And how did she react to that?
Her reaction was that it was a fraudulent call, that the person calling her was fraud, that there's no way it could be an FBI agent.
Okay. Did the person leave a name for her?
I believe he did. He gave her his first and last name. I don't recall what that is, though.
Okay. And was this information that she kind of, talked about in the office?
Yes.
And her statement was that this was fraudulent.
Correct.
Okay. And that was on October 15th. Is that correct?
Yes.
Prior to that, had you had any indication at all that Lisa was unhappy at her job?
No.
And that next day she came back to work. Is that correct?
Correct. That Friday.
That was the last time you saw her.
That's correct.
When did you learn that she had called in to quit her job?
On that following Monday.
And did you learn what her explanation was?
No. I was only told that she tendered her resignation
And did she tender it on that Friday?
that Monday.
That
If
Monday?
I'm not mistaken. The day I heard about it, so I believe it's that Monday.
Okay, so you heard about it on that Monday?
Yes.
Did she ever try to call you or contact you after that?
No, ma'am.
Do you know if she tried to contact anyone else from the workplace?
I believe someone did get a phone
Objection,
call.
speculation. I believe she has no concrete knowledge.
Sustained.
Do you know if she tried to contact someone else from work?
She did.
Okay.
Objection, Your Honor, this would be hearsay.
Sustained as a hearsay.
Your Honor, we're going to ask that the jury regard this last answer.
All right, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you are instructed to disregard the last answer made by this witness and not consider it as for any purpose whatsoever.
At some point, Ms. Martinez, did the FBI come in and talk to everyone at your workplace?
Yes.
And what information were they trying to find out?
They wanted to know if we knew where she was, if anyone had heard from her. They also wanted to know if anyone knew where the vehicle was.
Did you all give her the information that you had?
Objection, Your Honor, this calls for hearsay. The form of the question all inclusive the group instead of her own personal knowledge.
Sustained.
Did you give them any information that they asked for?
Everything they asked for.
You previously described Ms. Dykes as a very persuasive person. Can you kind of explain to the jury what you mean by that?
Yes, she had a way with words. She She could persuade anyone to do anything, in all honesty.
And Ms. Martinez, in the time that you were working with Ms. Dykes, did you all ever have any personal problems?
Nothing personal. No.
Okay. Did you have some work conflicts?
Yeah, maybe a couple.
Was it anything that amounted to, I guess, any disciplinary action for either of you, or was it just a matter of sometimes when you share an office space, those things happen?
It was just a matter of meeting goals that we weren't meeting at the time. That was the only reason.
And when I initially contacted you about your initial interview with FBI and talking to me, how did you feel about possibly coming and testifying?
Honestly, I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
I mean, you were reluctant. Is
I
that
was
fair?
reluctant, yes.
Okay. But you honored the subpoena that you got.
I did.
And I mean, just personally, how did you at that time feel about Lisa as a person?
I was conflicted. She was my friend, but is being charged with something horrible, and it's nothing that feels good. It's hard to deal with.
And lastly, Your Honor, approach. A painting which has been marked State 78. Is that just a picture of you?
Yes.
Okay, and that's kind of an older picture. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, State Officer State 78 for all purposes. Okay, no objection. Your Honor, pass the witness.
All right, well, state's exhibit number 78 is admitted for all purposes.
Oh, sorry, Judge.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Martinez, I'm Valerie Best, and I'm gonna ask you some questions. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How the hell Alex Sledge booted? What the fuck do you spell? How do you say that? Alex Sledge. Jesus Christ. Welcome, Alex Sledge. Booted.
You said that Lisa was very persuasive,
Yes.
but she wasn't persuasive enough to convince Attorney Montgomery to pay her bonus or give her money. Is that correct? Yes or no?
Your Honor, objection calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Ms. Martinez, there were issues with the pay that negotiators were receiving at Montgomery Law Firm.
In that case, welcome, Alex. I was trying to work it out. I was like, are you Russian? Are you Ukrainian? I didn't know. Welcome, man. Welcome, Alex.
Correct? Yes or no?
No.
So no issue with any bonus that you would have received or that Lisa would have received?
At one point there was, yes. Yes.
And you were actually in Lisa's office because Lisa was training you on negotiations. Is that correct?
She did, but we shared an office the entire time.
Now, the conversations that Lisa did have with you about her relationship with Chuck, she never mentioned being jealous of any of the other women that he was seeing, the young women that he was seeing. Yes or no?
No.
And did you know that Lisa was supporting Chuck's rap career, that Chuck wanted to be a rapist?
Yes.
And she had made an investment in his rap career. To your knowledge, do you know if she made an investment in his rap career?
She spent money, if that's what you mean, yes.
And did you have an opportunity to hear any of Mr. Beltran's music, Chuck's music?
I didn't. Not then. Not until, honestly, after he got arrested is when I looked up his music.
What was your impression of his rap music?
I couldn't see anybody investing in it.
Was it very derogatory towards
It was
women?
definitely derogatory, yes.
Now, Lisa had gotten some plastic surgery, and you referred her to that surgeon.
Correct.
And you stated earlier that Lisa came back almost immediately after the plastic surgery.
Correct.
Did that surprise you that she came back so quickly?
It did. She, the day she came back, she ended up leaving early because she wasn't feeling very well.
Do you know why she came back to work so soon?
She was always very adamant about being at work. She wanted to get a job done.
So she was driven about her career.
Absolutely.
And to your knowledge, was she on any?
Bye, Digger. Sorry, we're not entertaining today because everyone's out on lunch at the minute. This is like our filler lunchtime stream, so I'm trying to do set up streams for tomorrow and stuff as well. So apologies if it's a little tad boring as well. But welcome everyone. Thanks for being here.
Heavy medication like hydrocodone or
I don't know.
did she ever show you how her legs were healing? Did you ever see what was going on with her legs, or her thighs in particular?
If I recall correctly, she did show me one leg, if I'm not mistaken, but and it didn't look very good.
What do you mean by it didn't look very good?
The wound was opening.
I'm gonna ask you this. Sometimes would she get bloody at work?
She would, but it wouldn't seep through her clothing. Nothing like that.
Would she have to change her bandages?
Yes.
often at work?
Yes.
Now, the statement that you said about she was going to make Nina her bitch after she found out that Nina and Chuck slept together without her knowledge. You don't remember when she said that?
I don't recall exactly when. I remember the conversation 100%, but I don't recall exactly what date or any of that sort.
Was it like in the summer, maybe?
No, it would have been before her plastic surgery, but I apologize. I don't remember exactly when.
Okay. And she had her plastic surgery in September.
Mm-hmm.
So you got the answer yes or no?
Oh, I apologize. Yes.
Now, you said that she took off on October 2nd of 2020. Did she call in to you?
Like I say, it wasn't towards you in general. I mean, I'm trying to set up the stream. Normally, it's a lot more chatty. Just people are having lunch at the minute because we're watching 4 different streams today. So, but I appreciate you coming. It's all good. For anybody that's new, maybe expected a better chat. We just, as I say, tired probably. But I appreciate all of you being here. Thank you so much. And it's all good, Digger. Look after yourself. Hopefully, see you soon. All right.
The office manager know. The office manager, myself, and Lisa were part of management. So when the office manager knew that someone would be out, she let me know as well.
So if she really just worked half a day and took off to go to a doctor's appointment, would you have been aware of it?
Absolutely.
And that's not what she did on October 2nd, just take half a day, like work from home or go to a deposition?
No, that Friday she took the entire day off.
Are you still working for the Carver Cowboys, Sedona Montgomery?
No, ma'am.
When did you leave?
Oh, it would have been 2021 January.
Now, why did you leave?
I was let go.
You were let go.
Yes, ma'am.
And was that because goals weren't being met?
Correct.
Did you know when he was about to let Lisa go as well?
Your Honor, objection, here's sent.
Oh, Your Honor, she did say earlier that she was a part of the HR team, the management team. So that would be something within her.
Well, she can answer to anything that she told to the defendant.
Oh, I apologize. What was the question? I'm sorry.
Now about her, what she said that she wanted to take her car, the Audi that Chuck was driving over to your house, keep it up there. Was it piggybacking off of the conversations that she had with you about wanting to take the car away from him for whatever reason?
Yes.
Okay. And at the time, you stated where you told Ms. Pittman that you weren't comfortable with that.
Correct.
Is it because you didn't want to be caught in between a couple's rift?
Yes, I didn't want those problems.
So nothing to the fact, oh, this could have been the scene of a crime or have criminal evidence, and I don't want want anything to do with it. You were under the impression that there was a rift between them, a lover's rift between them, and you didn't want to be a part of that.
Correct.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any redirect?
Just a couple of questions, Your Honor. Concerning the car, were you ever around when Lisa talked to other employees about getting rid of this car?
No,
And from your understanding, Lisa quitting just kind of came out of nowhere.
correct.
You were in her office with her most of the time, so would you have been aware of any issues that were going on?
Absolutely. We were in the office every day, all day together.
Your Honor, no further questions. That's all.
Just a couple more. Thank you, Your Honor. So, Ms. Martinez, as far as you know, you don't know what effect the surgery and the heavy medications Lisa was on how it was affecting her performance, or how your boss, Mr. Montgomery, saw her performance.
No, I'm not aware of that.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
No further questions, Your Honor.
May this witness be finally excused?
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
No objection from defense either, Your Honor.
Co-examiner's office,
Yes,
and that's all kind of under the umbrella though of that same entity of Swiss.
correct.
And what does the medical examiner's office do?
Our main duty is to perform autopsies and from that determine the cause and manner of death of an individual that has died.
And before we get there, what are your trainings and qualifications to become a medical examiner?
I have a bachelor's from UT Arlington. After undergrad, I went to medical school for 4 years. I went to the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. During medical school, I decided to pursue pathology. I got into a residency training program at Baylor University Medical Center. Pathology is a 4-year residency program. After my training there, I took the boards, and I'm board certified in both anatomic and clinical pathology. After my residency training, I decided to do a subspecialty in pathology, which is forensics. I trained at Swiss for 1 year as a fellow, and I have been at Swiss ever since. And I've been there for about going on 11 years now.
And so now let's talk a little bit about that. You testified as a medical examiner first in this case.
Yes,
Here in Dallas County,
yes,
a number of times that fair.
correct.
You testified in other counties as well, because other counties will send cases or autopsies that may need to be done as well. Is that right?
Yes, we have a lot of surrounding counties that don't have their own medical examiner system, so they will send their bodies to us for a certain fee.
And so now talking about the medical examination process for an autopsy, you talked about making conclusions for manner of death.
Yes,
Can you tell us kind of what are manners of deaths? Like what is it that you're looking for? What are the different types of manners of death?
so there are 5 types of manners. There's natural, which is the one that we see the most. We have accident, suicide, homicide, and undetermined. Accident, an example of that would be a car accident, someone who fell and injured themselves, that would be considered an accident. Homicide, of course, it was a person died because of the intentional actions of another individual. Suicide, they killed themselves. And undetermined is when we cannot determine a cause and manner of death due to the circumstances.
And what triggers the MD's office doing an autopsy on someone?
So if it falls under our jurisdiction for Dallas County, if the death is a non-witness natural death, or it could be a natural death and they just don't know why they died, accidents, homicides, suicides, those all fall under our jurisdiction, and we'll perform an autopsy.
And in this case, you performed an autopsy.
Yes.
Commissioner Pritchard?
Okay.
I'm sure you would have marked here states 79 and 80. Is state 79 a copy of your report?
Yes.
And states 80, is this a copy of the diagram that you would do along with your report?
Yes, these were part of my notes.
This time I'll offer states 79 and 80. Alternative interpretations.
No objection, Your Honor. It's been previously tendered to the defense.
All right, state exhibit number 80 is admitted for all purposes.
That's 79 here.
And 70.
Commissioner Wiltshire?
May.
So let's start here with the report. I guess first, how does an autopsy work whenever you get assigned to do one? What's kind of the process?
When a body arrives at the morgue, we will give it a unique identification number. And this number is used to identify the body, and any specimens, any photographs, any reports that are made will have this unique number.
That's what we say in the top left.
Yes.
And then what else happens?
We will begin with the external examination of the body, typically. This case is different. We've received bones, but in a typical case, we will have a body that still has skin and sometimes clothing with it. So we will document all the external findings of the body, any clothing they had, any therapy that they had received prior, either at the hospital or at the scene of where they died. Their height, their physical characteristics, all of this will be documented, as well as any signs of natural disease to the body or any signs of trauma to the body. It would be all included in the external examination. After that, we begin with the internal examination, where we will open the body and examine all of the internal organs. So the heart, the lungs, the liver, all of that will be taken out of the body, cross-sectioned, and examined for, again, any signs of natural disease, any signs of trauma to the body. And we also examine the brain, so we'll open the skull.
And so you'll do that no matter what the investigation is, no matter what the autopsy is. If it's there, you're doing that full, thorough investigation, regardless of how obvious it may be or whatever the case may be.
Correct.
And like I said, this case is a little different. You don't have a body and any soft tissue to examine.
Yes, that's correct.
And so what do you do when you get a case like this, whenever you get just the remains of someone who was tossed out in a field?
So we still examine whatever we receive. In this case, there were multiple bones separated that we received. So when I received them, I still, used the unique identification number in my photographs. I examined the bones to see if there were any obvious signs of trauma to them. Sometimes if you have an intact skull, you can still look for maybe gunshot wound holes or any type of blunt trauma to the head. So in this case, when I got bones, I was still looking for any tissue that may have been attached to the bones, any signs of trauma to the bones.
We see here one portion of the ME's office work would be to identify the person you're doing an autopsy on. Is that right?
Yes.
And we see here in this report that's being, you document that it hasn't happened yet, but it's being established by dental comparison.
Correct.
And I guess it's fair to say there's a number of ways the medical examiner's office would investigate and try to identify either the remains or the body of someone. Right?
Yes.
In this case, it's being done by the dental examination, and there was an identification made. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and that was Marisela Botello.
Yes.
And then so we see here in your report, you included the forensics anthropology consultation as well. Right before that, here's kind of where you explain what you received. Is that right?
Yes.
And the jury's seen these photos already. So then we see down here below is where it looks to me that you copy over the forensics anthropology consultation.
Yes, I added to my report.
And are you the one that asked for that anthropology consultation to happen, or I guess the medical examiner investigator? How does that work?
Yes, so it's up to my discretion to use the services of our anthropologist. We haven't always had one, and in this case, we were lucky to have one. And so I asked for his consultation in order to examine the bones more thoroughly, clean them up, and do a thorough examination of them.
And he did that?
Yes.
And that was Dr. Crowder?
Yes.
So then when we continue on to the next page, these are still his findings from the skeletal remains, is that right?
Yes.
Then you still go on after reviewing just the remains, looking at the anthropology report, the dental comparison. What else do you then begin to look at to make your findings?
So my findings include a lot of things. They may include part of what I found at the autopsy, any consultations that I asked for, also any investigative history that I obtained. And I incorporate this into my findings in order to determine the cause and manner of death.
And the manner of death, you ruled this as well?
The manner of death was homicide.
Okay. And so what was your conclusion then was what in this case?
The cause of death was due to homicidal violence.
And we see there where you're basing that off of the footage where she's seen, Marisella's seen, and the investigative history. You list out some key points there, is that right?
Yes.
And the remains that were found, is that correct?
Yes.
And the identification by dental records.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the anthropology report says that there's no findings of trauma to the bones.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But you still are confident saying that you ruled the manner of death based on everything that you had to review as an homicide?
Yes.
Nothing further. That's what it's.
Cross-examination.
One more time.
Sure.
Now, doctor, I guess you do the actual autopsy, right?
Yes,
But as far as, I mean, when these bodies are recovered, oftentimes y'all send a member from your team out to assist with the investigation, don't you?
yes, our field investigator.
And in this case, it would have been Casey Gould.
She was our deputy investigator, and she typically goes out to scenes where bones are collected.
Can I approach you?
You may.
When you say that when you are making the determination of the manner of death, you also take into consideration the investigatory or the investigative history that was given to you, right?
Yes,
And that would have been primarily given to you from Ms. Gould.
yes.
Okay. And let me get this one. No, just take it. I'm sorry, Judge Manfro. Let me show you what's marked as defense exhibit. Is this 2 or 3? 2. Let me show you what's marked as defense exhibit number 2. Is that, I guess, an investigative narrative from your office as well regarding this case, this decedent?
Yes,
From Ms. Gould?
yes,
And is that something that when you're talking about information that you would have used in determining the manner and means of death, that's information that you're referring to?
yes,
All right. Judge, I'll offer, and this is from your office, right?
yes.
I'll offer what's marked as defense too.
Sure, you do.
Yeah, which one's again? The only objection I have, Your Honor, is this document has, looks like defense markings on it.
I'll rephrase that. With the exceptions of the markings that I've underlined, is this a document from your office?
Yes,
I'll offer. Oh, okay, you want this clean one? Is that what you're saying? All right, give me mine. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All right, defense exhibit number 2 is admitted for all purposes.
Now, again, when you talk about the investigative history, as Casey, I thought it was a man, but it's a woman.
yes, it's a
Right.
woman.
She actually goes out to the scene, right?
Yes,
And observes, I guess, the body as it's found.
yes,
In reference to the information that she received in this investigation, there's actually a narrative, correct?
yes,
And that's something that you would have considered. What was it? I think the narrative. Okay. And specifically, I'm referring to the narrative that was done, that it was included in her report. It says, per Detective Ramirez, correct?
yes,
The decedent was visiting a friend and went out by herself in Deep Ellum area, correct?
yes,
On the video, she's seen leaving with a black male suspect on October the 5th of 2020, correct?
yes,
Per phone records, they traveled to the suspect's residence, correct?
yes,
The suspect lived with a female couple who were also romantically involved with the suspect, correct?
yes,
Per the male suspect, the females were jealous of the decedent and stabbed her in the back, supposedly more than once, at the residence, correct? Blood evidence was located in the residence. Blood evidence that was located in the residence was DNA tested and found to be the decedent's, correct?
yes,
Hair was also found in the trunk of the vehicle, but there was no follicles to test DNA. Right?
yes,
At least one of the 2 women suspects' phone records showed them around the area where the decedent was located on the early morning hours of 10/6/20, correct?
yes.
In the early morning hours, is that correct? Is that what this is?
Early morning, yes,
Okay. At one of the scene's recoveries, the There was also a white, what is this,
Acrylic.
acrylic nail recovered under some of the decedent's remains, right?
Yes.
Then it also states that a self-portrait taken by the decedent on the night she went missing showed her having red nails, right?
Yes.
But underneath her, and again, I'm just going back to this part, it says that at the scene of the recovery, that there was a white acrylic nail recovered under the decedent's remains. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Again, this will be a part of the investigative history that you use to determine that the manner of death was homicide, right?
Yes.
But nothing about the body itself. Well, let me rephrase. In regards to your autopsy, can you tell us whether this person was poisoned?
No.
Can you tell us whether this person had a gunshot wound?
No.
Can you tell us whether this person was stabbed?
No.
Can you tell us whether this person died of a drug overdose?
No.
Was there even hair follicles where you could determine whether or not they used any controlled substances?
In the investigator report, it says they found a matted hair, but I didn't receive that. So, but they, I mean, if there was follicles on that, they could have tested that.
If it was her hair.
Correct.
Okay. But that was never determined, right?
No.
Oh, more importantly, Judge,
You may.
I want to make sure we're clear. They find this body basically, I guess, bring it to Swift's, as we come to refer, for you guys to do what y'all do, perform the autopsy, all this stuff that's in these reports, right?
Correct.
But as far as the time of death, in your report, you specifically indicate in your report. Let me show it to you. So, is that right? Which one?
Well,
Which
it's
one?
on the final report.
Okay. You got the final report?
Yes.
Where's it at?
5 p.m.
Okay, okay, let's talk about the date of death.
Hey, music lover.
In your report, based on your investigative, I guess, not your investigative, but based on everything that you guys received, you got the time of death in your report as 3/23 of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
But that's actually just the time she was found, right?
Correct.
You have no idea, based on your autopsy, when this young lady died, do you?
No.
Okay. And the time of death, you guys put in your report that she dies at 5 p.m. On March the 23rd of 2021. That's just when she's found, right?
Correct.
Okay. You have no idea, again, what her time of death was?
No.
Or her cause of death, other than the fact that based on everything y'all did, you believe it's homicide?
Just homicidal violence, what I have.
Okay. Thank you, doctor. Judge, I think I'll pass it.
May you redirect?
No, Your Honor.
May this witness be financed?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Doctor, for being.
Actually, the day is ended now. That was good timing. So just music lover, welcome. What we're doing is we're playing a day behind. So we're doing another trial. The Krieger quadruple murder trial is what we're watching next. So tomorrow we're going to have day 2. So today they're streaming day 2, but tomorrow we'll watch day 2, 9 o'clock Eastern. And then we'll watch the Krieger trial. And then over the lunchtime of the Krieger trial, we come back and watch or finish off the day for this trial. So, and we're going out to Krieger part 2 now. So we do 4 streams a day, every day of the week, Monday to Friday. So please come and join us if you want to. And then we've got Matt Moore with Mighty Meats, Dr. Hines, Talk with Sally every Saturday as well. So the extended live review does not do anything except channels I don't follow. Yeah, it's weird. I get the same problems. We get all these problems. Still exclusive. Well, that's the problem. People are jealous of that. That's why I'm in this problem now. But yeah, you're right though. But for you, yeah, I don't mind it as long as people watch it. I don't mind. Do you know what I mean? So I don't mind doing 2 shows a day. It's back to back for me. As it happens, today worked out perfectly. Just hopefully tomorrow works out just as perfectly. So with that, thank you for watching. I'm going to close this stream down and go straight over to the other one. Obviously, you should be redirected straight away. If not, and you don't want to join us, that's absolutely fine. Hope you come back tomorrow. at 9 o'clock to watch day 2 of this trial. But if you're here for the Kariga one, let's go. And with that, free Zachariah Anderson. Let's go to the other trial and see what's going on. Yeah, I know. Monica. Yeah, I know. Let's go.